Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. They finally gave my second favorite player a player to play with. Now look, man. LeBron is my player. I believe he's the GOAT. But Russell Westbrook is the second. No, he's the best point guard in the league. Facts. Fact. What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Joe. You know what I'm saying? I'm back in this thing for another reaction. You know what I'm saying? We finna be react to Michael Zamba, the GOAT of sports. Hear that. But we'll be watching while Russ can get his revenge. And while Paul George trade was a steal for OKC, it really was, because Victor Oladipo, he's a good player, but he's not him. And Sabonis, who is that? All right, we finna watch this and get that P on here. That's good.
The Oklahoma City Thunder just traded for Paul George. What? That came out of nowhere. Can I just say again, thank you, basketball gods. Thank you for blessing us with the greatest offseason we've ever seen. So what's up, guys? My name is Mike, and today we are talking about why the Paul George trade is huge for the Thunder. I know that might sound obvious, but it's possible that if OKC makes the right moves, they could be a championship contender for the next several years. So we're going to get into that, but quick note, again, I'm making videos on every single big offseason move. And at the end of free agency, I'm going to do a winners and losers of the NBA sum. So what I'm saying is make sure to subscribe if you're not already. And with that out of the way, let's talk about the Thunder. Let's just start this video off by saying that no matter what happens, this is a win for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Just 1 year after losing Kevin Durant, OKC has already replaced him with another all-star at the small forward position. And I know it's very possible that this is only going to be a 1-year rental, and trading for a potential 1-year rental is usually a huge risk. But looking at this trade, there's really no risk.
Paul George is really smart here to stay with him because because Russell do got very, like, he just set a record for ball dominance, bro. Like, if this nigga come out the game, OKC is ass-tastic. Bootylicious. Terrible. You know what I'm saying? Terrible. And shoot, they do get their minutes right, you know what I'm saying? If they do get their minutes right, it's not gonna be the same. And remember, you heard it here first. They're gonna beat Golden State next year. Facts.
At all for the Thunder. I mean, for one thing, OKC didn't really lose anything important in this deal. Remember, just last year, the Thunder traded Serge Ibaka to the Magic for Victor Oladipo and the 11th pick, which they used to take Domantas Sabonis. Now, OKC has moved Oladipo and Sabonis for Paul freaking George, which means that Sam Presti turned Serge Ibaka, whose contract expired this season, into Paul George. Sounds like a pretty incredible move to me, especially when you consider that losing Oladipo and Sabonis is really no big deal. Sure, Oladipo does have talent, but
no big deal. No big deal. Bruh. Hold on. It's no big deal, because Sabonis, I mean, he was alright. I mean, alright, come on now. Paul George, way better. Come on now.
He's clearly the wrong type of player to pair up with Russell Westbrook. Depot isn't a good spot-up shooter. He's not a great secondary playmaker. He's really just a lesser version of Russell Westbrook himself. On top of this, Victor Oladipo is set to make $21 million a year until the end of the 2021 season. That type of contract made a huge impact on the Thunder's cap space and their future ability to sign free agents, which meant that the Thunder had to be sure that Oladipo fit into their system if they were going to keep him. OKC wasn't sure, so they traded him, and now, even if Paul George leaves next summer, OKC will still have the cap space to go after another big-name free agent like DeMarcus Cousins. And as for Sabonis, well, he did showcase some potential in his first year in the league, but...
DeMarcus Cousins. DeMarcus Cousins. Hold on, y'all. I'll be right back, man. I gotta give me something. I gotta give me something to drink, right quick, guy. Alright. Gotta give me something to drink. Damn, I don't even know what the fuck that was. Let's just start this video.
At the end of the day, he only averaged about 6 points and 3.5 rebounds for the season, and he only shot 32% from 3. Not exactly a huge loss, especially when it's clear that OKC needs floor spacers around Russell Westbrook. And that's exactly what the Thunder are getting with Paul George. An elite floor spacer and an all-star level player who is quite possibly the perfect second guy to pair with Russ. Because, let's be honest here, pairing Russell Westbrook with another all-star is not easy. You can't just add any all-star level player to the Thunder and expect it to work out because, as we all know, Russ is a very ball-dominant superstar. In fact, he's the most ball-dominant player in NBA history. This year, he recorded the highest usage rate that anyone has ever recorded. This type of ball dominance is part of the reason why Kevin Durant left the Thunder last season. In OKC, Durant was also a very high usage player who created most of his own shots. On the other hand, while Paul George is certainly a high usage player in his own right, he's also a player who is much more willing to spot up off the ball, especially from the three-point line. Last season, PG attempted 6.6 threes a game, and 71% of them came in catch-and-shoot situations. Meanwhile, in his last season with the Thunder, Durant only attempted 55% of his threes out of catch-and-shoot situations, which is very important, because while Kevin Durant is certainly a better player than Paul George, his game never really fit with Westbrook's. KD and Russ were two alpha dogs, two guys who saw themselves as the
This snake, bro. This nigga, man, disappeared in the Western Conference Finals. But then went to the same team he lost a 3. Man, we ain't even gonna talk about that. Congratulations on your ring, KD. Congratulations on the ring. Man, you ugly as hell. Long body ass.
number one option who took turns sharing that role in their time together with the Thunder. As for Paul George, well, I think he's going to be the perfect second option for Russell Westbrook. Everyone in the NBA, including Paul George, knows that the Thunder are Westbrook's team. There are going to be no alpha dog struggles when Paul George steps onto the court next year. Instead, what we're going to see is an awesome Thunder team. This year, Oklahoma City won 47 games with a roster that was full of holes. They didn't have shooters to surround Russ. They didn't have a secondary offensive star to create plays on offense when Russ sat, and they flat out just didn't have enough talent to really compete with the NBA's elite. Now, though, things are different. Like I said before, Paul George is an excellent and willing spot-up shooter, as last season he shot 42% on catch-and-shoot threes on 4.8 attempts a game. But of course, Paul George is way more than just a spot-up shooter. He is a legitimate two-way star. The list of players who have averaged over 23 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists while making at least 2 threes a game is smaller than you might think. Only 10 guys in league history have put up those type of numbers. Paul George is one of those 10 guys, which means no longer are the Thunder going to be completely overwhelmed when Russ steps off the court. And make no mistake here, OKC was terrible whenever Russ did not play. To show you what I mean, let's look at the Thunder's offensive rating last season when Russ was on the court and off it. Now, a team's offensive rating differential basically measures how good a team is on offense compared to how good their opponent is on offense. So, when Russ was on the court, the Thunder had a +4 differential in offensive rating, a number that would have ranked them 5th in the entire NBA. Meanwhile, when Russ stepped off the court,
Talk to him, Mike. Talk to them!
Thunder plummeted to an offensive rating of -8.5, which would have ranked them as the worst team in the NBA in that category.
Talk to them. Talk to them. This is the main reason why James Harden didn't get MVP. Nigga, OKC needs Westbrook. Houston need Harden too. But OKC needs Westbrook. Come on now. Talk this shit. Talk this shit.
So even if you're not an expert on NBA teams' offensive efficiency, you can see that there was a huge difference when Russ was on the court and when he was off it. OKC immediately went from one of the NBA's best teams to the absolute worst whenever Russ took a seat on the bench. The reason for this was that no one else on the Thunder's roster could really create their own offense. But Paul George can create his own offense, and what's more, he's capable of carrying an entire team's offense. He proved that this season, when again, going back to offensive rating, the Pacers had a plus 2.8 differential in that stat when PG was on the court, and a minus 6.5 rating when he was off it. So now, when Russ sits, the Thunder will no longer be overmatched. Instead, if Billy Donovan staggers Westbrook and Paul George's minutes to make sure one of them is on the court at all times, OKC will always have a star to carry their offensive burden. So, as we've just seen, adding Paul George alone is going to make a huge difference for the Thunder in 2018. But, to be honest, they're still not as good as the Warriors. We all know that. So, the real question we should be asking ourselves is, what does this Paul George trade mean for the Thunder's future? Right now, I think the Thunder do have several pieces in place to field a potential championship-winning roster. They have an MVP alpha dog in Russ. They have their second star in Paul George, and they have a solid young starting center in Steven Adams. What's more, OKC also has some quality role players already on their roster. Doug McDermott has the potential to be the type of floor spacer OKC needs to play with Westbrook. Jeremy Grant has shown some serious potential as a small ball power forward in today's NBA, and Alex Abrines showcased some flashes last year that showed us that he too might be the right kind of floor spacing shooter to have on the court with Russ. But again, this roster is simply not good enough to win a championship, at least not yet. Which means the Thunder are going to need to make moves to get to the next level. Their first priority needs to be another shooter to create more court spacing for Russ and PG. And luckily, there are several guys on the market right now who can fill that role. Look for the Thunder to target guys like Aaron Aflalo, Ben McLemore, CJ Miles, or Patrick Patterson. Any of those players would make a real difference on the Thunder's roster next year. And when we look even further ahead, we can see that OKC is going to have some serious chances to make even bigger moves. Players like Carmelo Anthony and Dwayne Wade are going to be potential buyout candidates around next year's All-Star break. And even if someone like Melo isn't bought out, it's possible that if someone like Alex Abrines shows enough potential, the Knicks would be willing to accept a package of Enes Kanter and Abrines for Melo. And thinking even bigger here, it's also very possible that if DeMarcus Cousins does not work out next season for the Pelicans,
OKC get DeMarcus Cousins with Paul George and Russ. Oh my God. Oh my God, bro. Who are the Warriors, bro? They are going to kick I'm telling you, bro. The Warriors ain't got no big man, bro. If DeMarcus Cousins get on OKC, it's off. Shit.
the Thunder would be able to clear enough cap space through trading Steven Adams and others to allow them to sign a third superstar to pair with Russ and PG. But of course, even if OKC does make these moves, there's no guarantee that Paul George or even Russell Westbrook is on the Thunder's roster for the 2019 season. As we all know, PG has made it very clear that he intends to sign with the Lakers next summer. But that could change. Sure, right now Paul George wants to be a Laker, but he came to this decision after dragging the Indiana Pacers to the 8th seed in the East. When looking at his Pacer teammates, PG knew that Indiana was never going to seriously compete for a title when he was in his prime. So he decided that he wanted out. But if next season goes well, if the Thunder win 60 games and make the Western Conference Finals, it's more than possible that Paul George will look over at the Lakers, a team that is still rebuilding and whose immediate future is unknown, and decide that he'd rather stay and continue to seriously compete for a championship on a proven roster. As for Westbrook, well, the Thunder have made it that they are going to offer him a 5-year Supermax extension offer this offseason. When asked if he intends to stay in OKC, Russ made it clear that he wants to see if the Thunder were able to upgrade their roster before he committed to the team long term. Trading for Paul George allowed the team to do just that. And again, even if PG leaves, OKC will now have enough cap space next summer to sign another huge free agent. So no matter what Paul George decides, making the move to trade for him was the best thing the Thunder could possibly do.
Yes.
They showed Russ they are capable of pairing him with a second star. They cleared Oladipo's contract to give themselves an out next summer even if it doesn't work out. They made what could be a trade that put themselves into the championship discussion for years to come. And there you have it, guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Again, the NBA offseason is so awesome. Thank you, basketball gods. Thank you. Make sure to subscribe if you're new. I'm analyzing every single big move this offseason. And throughout the year, we've got NBA what ifs, NBA conspiracies, NBA history videos. If you love basketball, you'll love this channel. And guys, I do want to say thank you to SeatGeek for sponsoring this video. Now, if you don't know, SeatGeek is an app that takes all of the best ticket prices from around the internet and puts them all in one place for you to get the best deal. And it's easy to see what the best deal is because SeatGeek scores every ticket from 1 to 100 based on how good that ticket's price is. On top of that, the app also shows you the view of any ticket you might buy, which is pretty awesome because you can preview what seat you're going to be sitting in. So if you want the best seats for the best prices, download SeatGeek and make sure to use the promo code 2KMike for $20 off your first order. Guys, trust me, I use this app. It is awesome, and $20 off your first order, pretty solid deal. And if you're still here, you're the man. To everyone who's already subscribed, thank you guys so much. You know you're the best. And as always, have an awesome day, and cue that music.
Hey, man. Hey, man. OKC. Telling you, bro. They is gonna beat Golden State. I don't know about in the playoffs. They're gonna beat them in the regular season. All right. It's your boy Joey. Y'all know what time it is. I ain't talking about the one on the watch. Need the original video be in the description. Y'all can check that out. Shout out Mike Korzamba. You know what I'm saying? Stay with the facts. You know what I'm saying? Factual. Facts. All right, it's your boy Joey. I'm out this thing. I ain't some good at it, people.